Hello, I'm Mark and this is My Keys to Music. Thanks for joining me on this video. Today we're talking about the Nord Stage 3, and this is the 6th installment of a video series which really trains people who own or use a Nord Stage 3 on the synthesizer, or the synth. This is synth training. You can think of it as synth tutorials. Essentially what we do is we've uncovered most everything that the synth can do and explored it button by button, knob by knob, feature by feature. We read from the manual, we do a little experimentation. First, I want to talk about two major things in this particular video. I want to talk about the synth presets. Then we'll close off by showing you how to turn on the arpeggiator and showing you a few of the basics. I plan on taking the arpeggiator into the Discovery series and also into the course. For those of you who want to continue training on the Nord Stage 3 and really want to learn all the rest of the components of the Nord Stage 3 along with the synth, feel free to sign up for the course. It's called Master the Nord Stage 3, and it's available at mykeystomusic.com. Just go there and sign up. There's also a free course as well called Synthesizer Fundamentals that you can check out if you're brand new to the world of synthesis and you find yourself playing with a Nord or owning a Nord Stage 3, which comes with a full-blown synth. This may be your opportunity to get a leg up on that by taking that free Synthesizer Fundamentals course at mykeystomusic.com. Okay, let's get started here on part 6 of the synthesizer training for the Nord Stage 3. First, synth presets. When a Nord Stage 3 program is stored, its synth settings are, of course, stored together with all the other panel settings. So let me just pause right there and explain that. The items in the Nord Stage 3 are stored within a program, and the program stores the settings for all three sound engines. That would be the organ, the piano, and the synth. Well, there's a separate area of the Nord Stage 3, specifically called a synth preset. And this preset area, you can think of it as almost like a miniature program area. In other words, the program area stores the whole Nord Stage 3 keyboard setting. In other words, you change from sound A to sound B, and all your settings change across all the engines. The synth preset really just controls the synth engine by itself. Now you might say, well, why do I need that? Why don't I just use the program and it'll follow suit? Well, the advantage of the synth preset, the main advantage is there's so many individual settings that you can set in the synth engine that it made sense, at least to the architects at Nord, to combine all of those settings into their own collective known as a synth preset. So for example, I could set up a saw wave with a second oscillator and some filters, and all of those settings I can end up having it be called Marc's favorite synth sound. Because that's stored as its own synth preset, I can use that in any other program. So I can reuse it and use it as I see fit without having to set those settings each and every time for each and every program. So it acts as an independent area from the program area itself. Let's read what Nord has to say. This way, a library of your favorite synth sounds can be built, easily accessible from any program when needed. The Nord Stage 3 comes with a large selection of useful synth presets right from the start. Okay, let's take a look at these synth presets. We won't play through them, but we'll look at where to get them and how they work. So I happen to be here on the Royal Grand 3D. I'll turn off the piano and I'll turn on the synth engine. And you can see here that this program happens to be pre-installed with a synth preset called Soft Pad 1. So the name of the preset is located there. Right above it, you'll see 101, so that's bank 1, location 1. The word synth pad is actually not the name of this synth preset. That's actually the category. So these would all be the synth pad categories. And then over to the right of that, you'll see user, which means that this particular synth preset is stored in the user area. So there's the user area and then the sample area. The user area is a place where you can make your own synth presets and store them. The sample area, or the sample type of preset, is not user definable. They are predefined. Let's go through some of the lists and you'll see what I'm talking about. To change your synth preset, all you need to do is turn this knob here. So I'll turn that here with my left hand so you can see. And as I move up the dial, you can see the locations changing. and the name. In each one of these, when you change this knob, you're actually setting the entire synth engine to a whole new preset. Notice that it isn't changing anything over here. I'm still in the program Royal Grand 3D, but within the Royal Grand 3D, I can change to any synth preset that I choose. All right, now a couple more things on this, on how to navigate. You can hold the Shift key and toggle this, and you'll get a list of your presets, just like this. Very convenient. In addition, I can hold the Shift key and push the category button, which is right here. And this brings me into the list just within that category. In this case, the category is called SynthPad. But if I want to change the category, I can use this knob and toggle through the categories. This is the wind ensemble, the wind solo, back to string solo, and so forth. So categories and then the presets within those categories. Then I can choose and use this knob to toggle between the sample list, the category list, which I just was on, and the user list. So that's how you can navigate in and around this area here. To save your own synth preset, once you decide the settings that you like, you can push the Shift button and push the Store Synth. This allows you to store the synth, toggle this button to Store As, and then use this area here to dial it in, change the name, change the category, etc., etc. Now this area works just like the program area when you're programming your Nord Stage 3, so that's going to be fairly familiar. Where it gets a little confusing is that you're toggling back and forth between these screens and you're using the Store Synth button down here instead of the red button up here. So this red button stores programs, this button down here stores synth presets. So really that's the only distinction between this. I go into a little bit more detail in the actual course, but this should get you by with what you've just learned here to understand what those synth presets are, how they're used, and why they were created. Okay, now let's flip gears here and talk about the Arpeggiator, which is a really big piece. It turns out that the Arpeggiator is super simple to turn on. I mean, it couldn't be easier. It's simply one button. It's this button right here, the Arpeggiator Run. That runs the Arpeggiator, and then from there you just have a few other settings to worry about, and that's the Arpeggiator rate, which is here in this knob, and whether you are going to span up and down 1 octave, 2 octaves, or 3 octaves, or 4 octaves. Essentially, that's what that button does. And right below on that same button, while holding the Shift button over here, I can then determine what the pattern is like. So I have a down pattern, then I have an up-down pattern and a random pattern. And when no lights are selected, the pattern is up. Let's listen to a few things just to get an idea what that's like. Okay, let's set it to something really simple. I'll just reset my synth engine here to sound initialize, push OK, kick in with the classic saw, and that's what I need right now. I'll just throw some Unison on there so that it's bearable. Put a little attack, little decay, little release. There we go. Fine, that's going to be perfect for an arpeggiator. So let's push the arpeggiator button here, and it's set to none of these buttons here on the arpeggiator are selected, so let's just push 3 keys. I'll back off so you can see which 3 keys I'm pushing. I'm just pushing a C chord, and you can hear it going down to up. Okay, let's set the pattern to down. Okay, let's set the pattern to up and down. And let's set the pattern now this time to random. Now that really makes a difference when you start adding octaves to it. So I'll take those same 3 notes, and now it'll use those 3 notes and use the notes above that. 1 octave. And because I'm on random, it's going to throw those notes all around. So instead of just having 3 notes to choose from, C, E, and G, it's now choosing 6 notes because I added an octave. Add another octave, and it'll add now a total of 9 notes. And then 12 notes by adding a total of 4 octaves. 3 notes, 4 octaves in a random pattern. So that's essentially it for the basics of the arpeggiator. You can slow it down. And if you hold the shift key and select this knob, toggle it, and the arpeggiator will then sync up to the master clock. The master clock can be found under this button here. By holding this button, you can adjust the master clock. So in the course, I take you on a journey where we split the arpeggiator into multiple pieces, and we can see running the arpeggiator in the left hand while playing melody in the right hand. We combine 2 arpeggiators on panel A and B together so that it's combined, and really explore that in a much longer, much more detailed session. But this will get you started with the arpeggiator. Feel free to experiment. I'll leave you with a couple of other tips. When you are syncing the arpeggiator with the master clock, this no longer becomes a rate, it becomes a subdivision. So as you toggle this up and down, you'll see that your subdivisions are 1/4, 1/8, 1/8 triplet, 1/16, and so forth. Then the rate would be derived over here when you're using the master clock. I want to say thank you for joining me on the Nord Stage 3 Synth Training Series. This is the 6th and final video of this series. We have another video series that just started called the Discovery Series. And really, you have a lot to be proud of if you've actually gone through all 6 videos and learned the synth. Most importantly, you've joined me on the journey. You've explored uncharted territory and made it through on the other side, hopefully with more knowledge, more insight, and perhaps had some fun along the way. So I hope that that's the case. If it is, leave a comment, and I'd love to hear about it. Coming up, we have a new surprise synth on the way. It's not from Nord, but it is one that meets the budget of those who are just starting with synthesis and want to actually have a physical keyboard to play with and explore. And when that arrives, we'll do the usual unbox, review, and perhaps we'll dig into training as well. But that's not to say we're going to drop anything on the Nord stuff. We're still plenty to do. Tons of stuff on the list for the Nord line of keyboards. Things are really starting to happen, and I want to thank you for those who have reached out to me directly or have taken the course, the training course, or any other support that comes along the way by way of comments and things like that. It means a lot, it makes an impact, and it gets me excited. I'm really passionate about this. It's fun to do YouTube and actually have a channel. So thanks again for joining me. We'll catch you on the next one.